Math 122, week number 4. We're talking about income taxes. Here's the second installment. First video was a little longer. This one's going to be longer. I think you understand if you've checked out the homework. These are dense problems. Lots of numbers, lots of parts, lots of stuff going on. So check out the, hopefully this video will start to clarify some of those details and you can put it into place and get that homework submitted on Sunday. Part D, Barry has all these numbers coming in. He's got a lot of money coming in, a lot of money going out. I'll change the numbers a bit for my example and you're going to get those problems solved. All right, we got to break it down. Well, the first up is gross income. All the money, as I said, coming in. Barry's got a lot of money coming in. Where does money come from? His base salary. All right, so that starts. He's got some bonuses coming in. Well, good for him. And he's got some stocks. All right, be careful. $50,000 does not come in. $50,000 is what he's got living in the stock market. What comes in is 4% of that money comes in. So you'll see that I'm only taking a percentage of it. The $50,000, that was already there. He's getting another 4%. The income is the money, all that comes in. We do the calculation, but he brought in $84,800 during the year. Adjustments. First video we discussed, adjustments are college and retirement related expenses. Very specific. Welcome to the world of taxes. You got a lot of very specific things to keep focused on. Adjustments, retirement. Oh, I'm sorry, this one's the college. Adjustments are college expenses. So we see that it's $350, and this is a times 12. We have a monthly one. And it's retirement. And that's $600 times 12. That's a monthly one as well. Calculator tells us that Barry put $11,400 to college and retirement expenses during the year. Okay, next up we have deductions, we have exemptions. For both of those, in order to solve them, we're going to need to deal with this little chart here. We need to figure out what class of taxpayer is Barry, our protagonist here. Look at that sentence right there. He's filing taxes separately from his wife. That clears it up very straightforward. We know he's married, and we know he's separate from his wife on the tax form. So those numbers are what we're going to focus on, and we're going to use those to find his deductions and his exemptions. Now, the first video, I had a scenario where the character did not have any charity donations, did not have any home mortgage loans, which is also a deduction. So then we just say, hey, $6,200. In this case, if you read through the story, Barry has a lot of deductions. So let's focus on some of those. He's owning his house and paying a loan on his house. That is a deduction. Well, he's donating money to his church. Well, that's a deduction. That's a charity deduction. And the same thing coming at the United Way. Notice the times 12 because we got monthly ones. So we put it all together. His deductions, the charity and the loan expenses he has are over $9,000. And if you compare that to what the government says, hey, you get $6,000 for free. I'd rather take that $9,000. So what are we doing? We're comparing those two and we're saying, I would rather take the $9,000 deduction. In the first video, you didn't have that choice because there was no charity deductions. Here you got a choice, pick the bigger one. All right, that's deductions. Exemptions, how many people do you take care of? If you read here, he's married with 2 children. So and this is a gray area, and I'll be honest, in real life, you can be more flexible with this, but what I'm going to have you focus on is Barry's taking care of himself, and let's go ahead and say he's taking care of those 2 children. So if you say $3,950 per person, then we're taking care of 3 people, yourself and your 2 children. Like I said, in real life, that could be gray area because maybe the wife says, no, I'm taking care of the kids more, or maybe we'll do 1-on-1. Hey, guess what? We're not here in school to be accountants, so we'll leave that stuff out of it for now. For now, Barry takes care of himself, his 2 kids, times that by 3. We've got the exemptions. Okay, now we can do the taxable income. How's that work? The money that Barry brought in, and you subtract his adjustments. You subtract his deductions. You subtract his exemptions. That's all money you're, for lack of a better word, you're protecting from Uncle Sam. So that's why it's subtracted. You're protecting that from Uncle Sam. And that means $52,000 is going to be taxed. Let's find out how to get the tax. The next part here, we need to find the tax owed. And we know the taxable income is $52,000. That was the last, all those steps previous. The question is, how much does the government get? So the common mistake, as I'm grading a lot of these homeworks, what I'll see a lot of students do is say, okay, there's $52,000. They'll measure it on this little graph. That's a useful visual for me. And they'll say, okay, well, $52,000 falls in this category, which is 25%. And they're correct. But we don't just take the percentage of the top bracket. We don't just say, okay, it's 25% and there's my taxes owed. That is not how we have to do it. What we need to do is we need to take that 52,000 and don't look at the top bracket. Go up the ladder, so to speak. Look at the smallest bracket. The smallest bracket is only up to 9,000. So I graph that. I say up to 9,000, that's 10% of the money. The government gets 907. And you work your way up from there. The next bracket's 15. I'm working my way up. How far up? To 36,000. Okay. The government then gets that much. Look at that subtraction, because I'm only, the red bar only goes up to 9,000, between 36 and 9. So I'm looking at that money, and the government gets 15% of it. Okay, so that's a calculation. Work your way up the bracket. We did the smallest one. We did the 15. Work your way up the bracket. The next bracket goes all the way to 74. I don't need 74. I just need to go up to 52. Work your way up the bracket. And so how big is that green bar? The green bar is from 52 down to 36. It's in between those areas. And how much does the government get for that green bar? Well, the government gets 25%. All right, there you go, Uncle Sam. We've got 3 numbers. We broke his taxable income into 3 tax brackets. And for each bracket, we did a percentage. There's numbers all over the place. I get it. It's confusing. But you're going to have to break it down in those processes. Once you have the tax brackets, we take those numbers. Let's add them together. We'll say, okay, the blue one is $907. The red one, the government gets $4,000 something else. The green one, they get $3,800 some more. Put it all together. There you go, Uncle Sam. I'm going to write you a check for about $9,000. Keep the change. Not quite. But you get the idea. The government's going to take that money. That's your taxes owed. Lots of stuff going on. Deductions, exemptions, adjustments, all that stuff. And then breaking things into tax brackets. Check out the video. The previous one is a simple example. This one has more moving parts. Get through them. Try and follow along with the details. There is online tutoring on Saturday. Check Blackboard for the details accessing that. And if you have any other questions, just shoot me an email. Hopefully we can put it all together for Sunday's submission.